Welcome back to the Missouri Property and Casualty Insurance Training course. In this session, I will walk you through the essential regulatory framework, licensing requirements, fiduciary duties, consumer protections, and advertising laws that impact property and casualty insurance professionals in the state of Missouri. Whether you're preparing for your licensing exam or simply need a refresher on Missouri law, this course is designed to help you understand your responsibilities, avoid costly mistakes, and deliver compliant, ethical service to your clients. Throughout this course, we'll go beyond surface level information and dig into what the rules mean in practice. You'll hear examples, compliance tips, and simplified explanations to make everything easier to understand and remember. Let's begin by looking at who regulates the insurance industry in Missouri. Let's start with the regulator. In Missouri, the insurance industry is overseen by the Missouri Department of Commerce and Insurance, often referred to as the DCI. Their mission is to protect Missouri consumers and ensure a strong, fair, and stable insurance market. The DCI issues licenses, approves continuing education, CE providers, conducts audits and investigations, and enforces insurance laws. The director of the DCI holds enforcement authority. If violations occur, the director can deny an application, issue fines, suspend or revoke a license, require corrective action. While the DCI investigates complaints, they do not settle policyholder disputes. Those are resolved through insurers or legal action. Example: if a consumer reports you for misrepresenting a policy, the DCI may investigate your sales practices. If they find wrongdoing, you could face disciplinary action. Repeated consumer complaints, even without legal violations, can trigger further scrutiny. Real case. Tip: in 2021, a Missouri agent was fined $2,000 and had their license suspended for 90 days after misrepresenting coverage and failing to remit premiums on time. Even though the clients were reimbursed, the DCI's priority is market conduct. Tip: stay proactive. Keep detailed records, respond promptly to client issues, and avoid gray areas in advertising or sales. If in doubt, ask for written clarification from your upline or carrier compliance department. Producer licensing requirements. Now let's walk through Missouri's producer licensing requirements. To obtain a property and casualty insurance producer license in Missouri, you must be at least 18 years old, complete a pre-licensing course from a DCI-approved education provider, pass the state licensing exam administered by Pearson VUE, submit an application through NIPR.com or Missouri's DCI portal, pay the required licensing fee, usually $100 for producers. Important: Missouri does not require fingerprinting for standard resident producer licensing. That's a common misconception. You'll just verify your identity when you test. When you apply, be sure to use your full legal name, match your application details with the info on your course completion and exam, disclose any criminal background or regulatory actions. Tip: if you have any past offenses, even misdemeanors, include them. Omitting information is worse than disclosure. Missouri will review your honesty more than the offense itself. Example: a former college student with a misdemeanor shoplifting charge was approved for licensure after fully disclosing the charge and demonstrating rehabilitation. Honesty and full documentation are key. After applying, your license should be issued within 2 to 3 business days if there are no red flags. You'll receive confirmation via email and can print your license from the DCI website. License term and renewal. Once licensed, your producer license is valid for 2 years, expiring on the last day of your birth month in the renewal year. Here's what you need to do to maintain it. Complete 24 hours of continuing education, CE, including 3 hours of ethics from approved providers. File your renewal application online via NIPR.com. Pay the renewal fee on time. If you're working for or running an agency, there must be at least one designated responsible licensed producer, DRLP. This individual oversees compliance and ensures the agency meets licensing requirements. Warning: if the DRLP's license expires, the agency's license may be suspended automatically. Example: if your license expires in May and you wait until May 30th to start CE, you're risking non renewal. CE credits must be reported before submitting the renewal. Real world tip: use a compliance calendar. Mark key CE and renewal dates at least 90 days ahead. Some producers automate renewal tasks using CRMs or CE tracking apps. Tip: set reminders every January and July to check CE progress. Don't leave renewals until the last minute. Appointments and CE. Let's go deeper into appointments and continuing education, CE. In Missouri, to legally sell, solicit, or negotiate insurance for an insurer, that insurer must file an appointment on your behalf with the DCI. It's not automatic. You can't sell for a company until they have appointed you. Appointments include submitting an online request through NIPR, paying the insurer's appointment fee, often $25, $50, confirming the producer is licensed and in good standing. Most companies handle this process internally, but check your appointment status with each carrier. On the CE side, you must complete 24 credit hours every 2 years. At least 3 of those hours must be in ethics. You may not take the same CE course more than once per cycle. You can take courses online, in person, or through webinars as long as they're DCI approved. Example: if you took ethics in claims handling in 2024, you must choose a different ethics course for your 2026 renewal. Tip: use Missouri's CE tracking portal to verify hours. Don't rely on providers alone to report. Advertising and rebating rules. Let's now focus on advertising and rebating, two areas where good intentions can still lead to violations. Advertising rules. Every advertisement you create, whether it's an Instagram post, postcard, radio ad, or YouTube video, must be clear and truthful, free of deceptive or misleading statements. Properly identifying your full legal name or registered DBA, accurate in the description of coverages, rates, and limitations. You may not imply that a product is approved or endorsed by a government agency unless it truly is. Avoid phrases like government approved plan, guaranteed savings, no cost to you, unless the plan is truly free and you disclose why real world mistake. A producer advertised a Medicare supplement as zero out of pocket, failing to disclose the coinsurance. Result: a DCI fine and 6-month license suspension. Rebating rules. Missouri prohibits rebating, which means offering something of value in exchange for buying insurance. However, there's a small exception. You can give items valued at 25s or less per person per year. The item must not be tied to a sale and must be offered to everyone equally. Examples of allowed incentives: a branded pen or calendar, a $10 coffee gift card for attending an info session, not tied to purchase. Not allowed: offering a $50 Visa gift card to each new policyholder, discounting premiums, or refunding part of your commission. Tip: always run promotional ideas past your compliance department or the DCI's producer licensing hotline if you're unsure. Fiduciary responsibilities and record keeping. Now, let's talk about something that's often misunderstood but critically important: your fiduciary responsibility as an insurance producer. In simple terms, a fiduciary duty means you are legally and ethically obligated to act in the best interest of your clients and carriers, especially when handling their money. You're not just selling a policy, you're managing trust. That includes accepting payments only through licensed, disclosed channels, remitting premium payments to the insurance company quickly, never commingling client funds with personal or agency operating accounts, being transparent about all commissions, fees, and refunds. Let's look at a real world example. Suppose a client pays you $600 in cash for a premium. You must deposit that amount into a separate trust account, never your general business account, and remit the exact premium amount to the insurer as quickly as possible. Failing to do so isn't just unethical, it's illegal and could result in license revocation or criminal charges. Best practices: maintain a trust account that's separate from your operating account. Issue a receipt for every client payment, whether cash, check, or card. Create a ledger that shows the flow of funds for every transaction. On record keeping, Missouri law requires that you keep certain documents for a minimum of 3 years, whether you're an individual producer or running an agency. These include client applications, policy declarations, payment and refund logs, written communications, including emails and texts, claims records, and change requests. Tip: use cloud based insurance CRMs or agency management systems to store digital records securely. Even if you're a one person operation, this helps during audits and protects you from E&O claims. If DCI audits your files and finds gaps, it could result in fines or formal sanctions, even if no client has complained. Unfair trade practices: recognizing and avoiding violations. Unfair trade practices can sink your career faster than anything else. So let's go through the most common violations and how to avoid them. These include twisting, convincing a client to cancel one policy and buy another by using misleading or incomplete information. Churning, replacing a client's policy repeatedly just to generate new commissions, even if it harms the client. Misrepresentation, lying about a product's benefits, features, or exclusions. Defamation, making false statements about a competitor or their policies. Discrimination, charging different rates or offering different terms based on race, gender, religion, or other protected characteristics rather than actual underwriting risk. Examples: a producer tells a client that their current insurance company is about to go bankrupt to convince them to switch. That's defamation and possibly twisting. A producer rewrites a homeowner's policy every year to reset commission payouts without client knowledge. That's churning. A producer gives a better rate to male drivers versus female drivers with identical records. That's discrimination. Penalties for violations include civil fines, up to $100,000 depending on the severity, loss of license, civil lawsuits, E&O claims from both clients and insurers. Narration tip: these aren't just minor issues. One violation can damage your reputation, destroy your book of business, and leave you liable for significant penalties. Missouri auto insurance requirements. A tort state. Let's dive into auto insurance, a high volume, high risk area for producers. Missouri is a tort state, meaning the person at fault for an accident is financially responsible for the damages. This contrasts with no fault states where each party's insurer pays regardless of who's at fault. Minimum liability coverage in Missouri is known as 25/50/25. $25,000 for bodily injury per person, $50,000 for bodily injury per accident, $25,000 for property damage per accident. Also required, uninsured motorist coverage of at least 25/50. Important, underinsured motorist coverage is not required in Missouri, but it's often recommended. Real world tip: many drivers only carry state minimum coverage, and one major accident could wipe out those limits instantly. Always educate your clients about increased liability limits or umbrella policies. Producer responsibilities include ensuring clients understand their policy, explaining consequences of lapse like license suspension, providing clear guidance on SR22 filings if needed. Scenario: a client forgets to pay their premium, their policy lapses, they're in an accident 2 days later, they are now personally liable and can be sued for damages. You, as the producer, may also face scrutiny for not ensuring automated payments or lapse warnings. Missouri homeowners insurance laws and protections. Homeowners insurance is another area with very specific rules in Missouri. Let's look at some key requirements. Cancellation notice. Insurers must give 30 days written notice before non-renewal or cancellation. Non-payment grace. Period. If the policy is canceled for non-payment, only 10 days notice is required. Rate increases. Any premium increase of more than 25% must be disclosed in writing. Claims handling protections. Clients must be given a claims bill of rights. Settlement timelines must be disclosed. ACV, actual cash value, versus replacement costs must be clearly explained. Tip, document everything. If you explain to a client that they'll only receive $8,000 for a $14,000 roof due to depreciation, get them to sign an acknowledgement. Clients often forget what was said after a claim is denied. Scenario: a hailstorm damages a client's roof. They're upset when the settlement check is lower than expected. Turns out they chose an ACV policy to save on premiums, which deducts depreciation. Having proof of that discussion protects you. Final compliance reminders and success tips. Let's wrap up our session with a few final reminders. Your license is your livelihood. Protect it like a business asset. Know the DCI rules, especially regarding continuing education, advertising, rebating, and record keeping. Always act in your client's best interest. Your integrity and reputation will build your book of business over time. Maintain clean, organized records. If you're ever audited, thorough documentation will protect you. Never assume clients understand their insurance policies. It's your responsibility to explain coverage clearly and thoroughly. Suggested workflow for compliance. Create a consistent onboarding checklist for each new policy. Include application, quote, signed disclosures, and premium receipt. Schedule your continuing education courses well in advance of your renewal deadline. Review your errors and omissions, E&O insurance policy annually to ensure it aligns with your current business operations. Maintain a compliance calendar with key dates for license renewal, CE deadlines, marketing reviews, and appointment checks. Thank you for joining this Missouri Property and Casualty Insurance training. If you take one thing away from today, let it be this: professionalism and compliance are not just tasks to complete, they are the foundation of a strong, long lasting career in this industry. Stay committed to ethical practices, keep learning, and always prioritize your clients' needs. Let's work together to keep Missouri consumers protected, educated, and properly insured.